Good afternoon, and welcome to Chesapeake Public Schools Family Empowerment Webinar. My name is Lisa Carey, and I am one of the Family and Community Engagement Specialists. Our office, which is part of the Department of Engagement, aims to build meaningful partnerships that inspire, engage, and empower families, educators, and community agencies to support the initiatives of Chesapeake Public Schools. You can reach us on our main phone line or via email at the contact information listed on the screen. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to working together to strengthen our community and support our students. Our goal is to continue to provide families with valuable webinars, events, and information to empower them in the educational setting. We are excited to offer our families the Peak Parent University course catalog, which provides an overview of all of our events for the school year. Here, you can also catch up on pre recorded webinars, explore a wide range of educational resources, and make valuable community connections to enhance your family's well being. Please take a moment to scan the QR code, which will give you access to the Peak Parent University. This will provide you with monthly updates, including descriptions, times, and locations of upcoming events. We hope that you will join us for one of our events, which are listed here on the screen. You can also go to cpschools.com and in the search menu type Peak Parent University. Thank you for joining us for Are You Ready for Kindergarten webinar. We are so glad that you are here. We are excited to welcome Lauren Perez, Supervisor of Chesapeake Preschool Initiative. She will be sharing valuable information and practical tips to ensure your child is ready for kindergarten, followed by Shaughnessy Butler, who will also share kindergarten and community resources that you may need while your child is attending kindergarten. At this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Lauren. Hi, Lauren, and welcome.
Thanks, Ms. Carey. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Lauren Perez, and I am the Chesapeake Preschool Initiative Supervisor, and I want to let you guys know that I'm so happy to be with you today. So first, I want to reiterate how much we appreciate you taking the time to join us. We recognize that starting kindergarten is a huge milestone, and we are honored to walk alongside you as your child begins their kindergarten journey with Chesapeake Public Schools. Regardless of your child's previous preschool experience, moving into kindergarten is a major transition for the whole family. Tonight, I'll be sharing insights into the readiness side of that transition. As I mentioned, tonight is all about the kindergarten readiness, and we'll look at what ready actually looks like and how your support at home, aligns with that goal. To keep things practical, I'm featuring quick examples of readiness skills paired with some takeaway activities that you can start using today to help prepare your child. Please also know that there might be things I covered that you are already aware of and doing. So I hope you find validation and success within my comments, as well as some possible new ideas. Please also keep in mind that this webinar is not designed to show if your child has mastered kindergarten, as we will not be covering the full kindergarten curriculum for the year. Your child's future kindergarten teacher will be your best resource for those specifics, but we are here to give you the tools and ideas that you need to lead your child confidently across that bridge to the first day of school so that they are ready to start kindergarten. Let's first take a look at what kindergarten readiness is. In Virginia, we define school readiness as a partnership between four key pillars: the child, the school, the community, and most importantly, the family. While our schools and community provide the resources and environment for growth, you are your child's first and most influential teacher. Every time you model a social skill or foster excitement about learning, you are already building your child's readiness within your own home. Tonight, we're going to dive into what that development looks like and how you can continue to be the most vital part of your child's success as they cross that bridge into kindergarten. To understand why we're focusing so heavily on readiness, let's look at some data from the Virginia Department of Education. According to the Fall 2024 VKRP assessment, 49% of students entering kindergarten needed to develop at least one foundational skill. That means about half of our kindergartners are not fully ready for kindergarten. While we are seeing growth compared to previous years, these numbers show us that there is still work to be done. Our goal today is to bridge that gap together. ensuring that every child walks through our doors feeling capable and prepared. So let's go ahead and get started. Skills for kindergarten readiness are separated on two sides of the screen. On one side, we have the academic foundations, like literacy and math, while the other side highlights the functional readiness of kindergarten skills that your child will need to thrive. This layout helps us see how the classroom concepts like letters and numbers work together with the life skills such as independence and self-regulation that you are already modeling at home. We'll begin on the academic side with literacy and math, as these are often the first things that come to mind when parents think about kindergarten readiness. And while these concepts are important, I'm going to briefly review these activities as I want to spend more time on the other side, as that side is the one that will help provide crucial readiness that is often lacking in kindergarten classrooms. So fine motor skills are an area that is often needing development initially in kindergarten due to the increased amount of cutting, writing, and drawing. When working the muscles in the hand, it requires practice and effort to build the muscle, just as in any other muscle in your body. And so to develop these muscles, any activity that requires small movement will help. Try snipping paper over a trash bin, using tweezers or a pincher grasp, which is using the pointer finger and the thumb to sort cereal and beads, or lacing circled cereal onto a string. Simple motions like squeezing a soft ball also help develop the muscles needed for writing. If you are practicing the fine motor skills of handwriting, strokes, scribbles, and drawings, have your child take time to explain what he or she drew. Not only will that help with developing the fine motor, but it will also help with that literacy connection. So let's take a peek into the early literacy skills. The best advice I can give is simply read, read, read. Reading does wonders for development and learning. Beyond just hearing a story, early literacy includes being exposed to basic print concepts like seeing words on a page, learning that we read from left to right, and constantly increasing the variety of vocabulary words that your child hears. When you're reading together, take a moment to ask questions about the story, but remember to just have fun. Modeling the enjoyment of reading is one of the best gifts that you can give. And if your little one shows an interest in reading to you, let the magic happen. Watch as they tell a story based on the pictures and use that time to show them what a great, engaged listener looks like. Reading readiness is a building process. You can support your child through 3 different sections. The first one is environmental print. Your child is likely already reading by recognizing familiar logos on signs and TV. Practice reading the world together during grocery trips or walks. The next section is the alphabet. And as you move into pre-literacy skills, I know that many parents feel a push to master that alphabet. While full mastery isn't required for day one, singing the ABCs while looking at the letters builds a strong foundation. Have your children identify letters in random order, match the capital to the lowercase letter, and if they are ready, start connecting letters to the sounds that they make. For those parents that are curious about the typical fall benchmarks for starting kindergarten, capital and uppercase letter ID is usually about 15 to 18 letters, and then of course lowercase ID is 10 to 15 letters. Speaking of the power of their name, if your child is working on his or her name, have your child sort the letters that belong in their name. Put their name letters in order and practice the strokes or letters to write his or her name. Once they master their first name, feel free to try their last name as well. But please remember, these suggestions and letter benchmarks are simply a starting point. They do not indicate that your child can surpass kindergarten, nor that your child is too far behind. Every child develops on their own timeline, and our teachers are expert at meeting your child exactly where they are on day one. And as we bridge into our final academic section, we're going to focus on numbers and number sense. While math is a broad category, some of the most important foundations for a rising kindergartner are counting, number identification, and creating sets. At home, the opportunities to practice are endless. You can count everything: socks, snacks, toys, or even rocks. And as you count together, encourage your child to point to each item. This builds a vital developmental skill. And in the teaching world, we call it a one-to-one correspondence. But simply put, it's just the ability to count each object in a set exactly one time. One touch, one number. And as your child becomes more comfortable, you can begin introducing number identification. A great way to level up this activity is to have your child count a set of objects and then find the written number that matches that set. A quick tip: try not to focus on too many numbers at once, as that can feel overwhelming. You know your child best, so let their natural curiosity and the pace guide how quickly you move through those numbers. So now that we've explored a little bit about the academic side, let's shift our focus to the other side of readiness. While every area we discussed tonight is important, I really want to encourage you to focus your attention and time with your child on these specific skills. Often it is these skills that are needing development and contribute to kindergartners not being ready. These can be viewed as whole child readiness skills, and they are actually one of the strongest predictive indicators for a child's future success across all learning domains. Think of these as the internal wiring or the engine that helps a child learn everything else. In fact, these skills are often better indicators of long-term success than early academics. In kindergarten, being ready means having the tools to navigate a classroom and connect to others. To make this easier to navigate at home, we've broken these skills down into 4 big buckets that you can see on the screen. And as you might imagine, strong language skills are a major boost for kindergarten readiness. In fact, research shows that by the time children enter kindergarten, they are generally able to say a few thousand words and understand thousands more. And as you listen to your child, reflect on their growth. Are they speaking in full sentences? Can they express their needs verbally? Are they beginning to ask and answer their own why and how questions? The best way to nurture this is simply through talking and modeling. I know our world is incredibly busy, and electronics can often dictate our time, but some of your best conversations happen on the go, in the car, at the grocery store, or even while doing chores at home. Be intentional about these conversations. Expand the vocabulary. Don't be afraid to use big words and explain what they mean. And there's power in repetition. It's perfectly okay to repeat yourself or repeat what they say to reinforce the sounds and the meanings of their words. Take opportunities to think out loud. Narrate your own day. Explain your thoughts as you cook or perhaps even as you clean. The research by Polson and Motes backs this up. The number of words children hear and the quality of their interactions now are directly linked to their academic success years down the road. And remember, this is about expression and understanding, not perfect speech. I challenge you to trade some screen time for more intentional talk. You'll be amazed at how your child flourishes when you make the most of these everyday moments together. Social skills are the outward expression of our feelings and behaviors. They are the essential tools that children use to navigate the world around them, whether they are playing with a teammate or speaking with an adult. It is about a child understanding how they fit into the space around them and how their actions affect others. In the classroom, we focus heavily on empathy, which is recognizing how others feel, and cooperation, which is mastering the art of sharing and taking turns. Because these habits take time to develop, they are a major focus in kindergarten. We encourage you to start and continue this development with your child if you have not already intentionally started. But to partner with your child's teacher as we work together as a team to help them build these lasting, meaningful relationships. To make these concepts easier to navigate, I have broken down several social development into 4 key categories: communication and cooperation, emotional identification, conflict resolution, and social awareness. As we explore these areas, remember that children learn best through play. Spending a little time each day with intentional focus goes a long way for developing these social skills. By modeling these interactions and expectations yourself, you provide a powerful path for your child to follow. When we think about communication, we often focus on what a child is saying. However, for a kindergarten, the most transformative part of communication is actually active listening. It is the input that makes meaningful output possible. To help your child move beyond just hearing words to truly understanding them, we focus on being a whole body listener. We need to teach our children that we listen with more than just our ears. We use our eyes to look toward the person who is speaking, we use our brain to think about what is being said, and we use our body to stay relatively still to show respect for the speaker's space, and we also use our heart to care about how the other person feels. Cooperation is about learning to work together. It's where children practice waiting their turn to speak, showing patience with others, and building the habits of cooperation. Whether your child is engaged in a classroom lesson, a chat with a friend, or even a game on the playground. Expanding on identification of feelings is a vital part of kindergarten readiness. This skill actually starts as a self regulation piece, but it also connects to social skills as it allows children to relate and understand others. Before a child can regulate their behavior, they must be able to identify it. And when a child can name a feeling, they can begin to manage it. Help your child recognize the physical signs of an emotion. For example, I see that your fists are clenched. Does that mean that your body is feeling angry? Please feel free to expand the vocabulary. Move beyond just the words good or bad. Introduce words like frustrated, excited, nervous, or proud. Emotions are where your child starts to develop empathy, the wonderful ability to understand how someone else is feeling, which makes it much easier to make friends and play kindly on the playground. There are areas to focus on that help children understand and identify emotions in others. The first one, encourage your child to look for clues in others. You might say, look at Sarah's face. Her eyebrows are squeezed together and she isn't smiling. How do you think she feels about her tower falling over? Another idea is help your child see that feelings usually have a reason. For example, if a friend is sitting alone on the bench, you can wonder out loud, hmm, he's sitting all by himself. Do you think that he might be feeling a little lonely or left out? And a third idea is before your child acts, ask them to predict a reaction. If you share your favorite toy with your brother, what do you think that his face will look like? This helps them see how their kind choices make others feel happy. In a busy classroom, being able to recognize a friend's feelings helps your child know when to offer a hug, when to give someone space, and how to work together. It's a key ingredient to building the kindergarten best friend memories. In a kindergarten classroom, success isn't just about knowing ABCs. It's about how a child handles it when things don't go their way. This involves two major skills: sharing or working with others, and managing their own big feelings. Sharing is one of the hardest skills for a 5-year-old because it requires them to give up something that they want in the moment. Children often react physically, such as pushing or grabbing, because their brains move faster than their words. Help your child develop the skill of waiting for a toy, trading toys with a person, and developing phrases to use instead of their hands. For example, phrases like, may I have a turn when you are done? Or, I'm not finished, but I will share once I'm done, will help your child turn potential conflict into connection with a friend. Kindergarten is full of firsts and fails. A child who is kindergarten ready is learning how to feel frustrated without having a full outburst. By teaching your child to name their feelings, stay calm through deep breathing, and taking time to reset, you are building their emotional stamina. When a child learns to navigate these small frustrations at home, they enter school with the resilience needed to stay focused on learning and building those positive relationships. Social awareness is a child's ability to understand the unspoken rules of a group. In kindergarten, this centers on two major physical skills: knowing where their body ends and somebody else's begins, which we often know as personal space, and matching their voice volume to the environment. In a classroom, children spend a lot of time in close quarters, on the rug, in line, or at small tables. A child who understands personal space helps keep the environment calm and safe. Teach your child that everyone has an invisible bubble around them. To be a respectful friend, we try not to pop somebody else's bubble by leaning on them, touching their hair, or standing too close during a conversation. Encourage your child to ask, "Can I give you a hug?" or "Can I sit next to you?" as this builds the habit of respecting others' physical boundaries. Classrooms are dynamic. They shift from quiet, independent work to high energy playground play. Kindergartners need to be able to adjust their volume to match the activity. At home, practice switching volume voice levels. It is a powerful shift in perspective, but research consistently shows that a child's social emotional readiness is one of the strongest predictors of long term school success. When a child has a strong social foundation, they are free to focus entirely on learning. These skills help them build a support system of friends and teachers while developing the resilience needed to handle a challenge or a not yet skill with confidence. Ultimately, mastering these social foundations ensures that your child enters the classroom not just ready to learn, but ready to thrive as a connected member of their new school community. I like to think of self regulation as what is occurring within your child. And while we addressed emotions under social skills, like I mentioned earlier, they also fit into self regulation. Through self regulation, children gain that self control to stay focused, the persistence to keep trying when a task gets tough, and paying attention to follow through on directions. As you can imagine, these skills take time and practice to develop. They also require modeling by the adult, displaying regulation in order for the child to learn these skills. If a parent stays calm when the child is frustrating, they are loaning their own self regulated nervous system, and over time, their child will learn to be calm too. In kindergarten, the hardest part about following directions is often not the task, but the transition. For a 5-year old, it can be hard to shift away from their own agenda or their own preferred activity. Help them practice that mental pivot needed for a busy school day. Take time for them to follow directions of others. Include directions that are multi stepped as well. Think of focus as a child's mental spotlight. Developing this skill is about strengthening their ability to aim that light at one thing while tuning out the noise and distractions around them. In a busy classroom, having focus is what allows them to stay locked into a story, even if a fly is buzzing by or a friend perhaps is fidgeting nearby as well. By practicing this at home, aiming their spotlight at a parent's voice despite the TV or a playing sibling, your child builds that mental stamina needed to follow complex, multi step directions in a room full of about 20 other kindergarten students. Persistence is a child's emotional stamina. It's what allows them to navigate that frustration gap. The moment they want to quit because a task feels too big. We can build this muscle by encouraging children to finish what they start, whether it's a Lego tower or clearing the dinner table. This habit of sustaining effort prepares them for the academic challenges of kindergarten, where learning to fail is just as important as learning to succeed. A child who can persist for 5 minutes on a difficult task is much more ready for independent work than a child who looks for an adult the moment a challenge arises. By practicing finishing at home, you are building your child's confidence in their own problem solving abilities. Self control is often called the brakes of the brain. When a child's gas pedal is fueled by excitement and high energy, their brakes are what allow them to pause before acting. For a 5-year old, this means managing the physical impulse to grab, shout, or move when big emotions or distractions hit. In kindergarten, self control is what allows a child to sit on the rug without touching their neighbor or waiting for the teacher to finish a sentence. By practicing small moments of waiting or pausing at home and building up to those longer time periods, you are helping your child strengthen their self control. This at home practice ensures that they enter the busy school environment with the self regulation needed to stay focused, respectful, and ready to learn. A child who can successfully manage the urge to move or speak out of turn stays in a ready to learn mindset longer. Because they require fewer individual directions from the teacher, they can keep their focus exactly where it belongs, on the fun of learning. There is one master skill for kindergarten, then it would be self regulation. Think of it as the brain's internal remote control. A child who can self regulate isn't just well behaved, they are biologically ready to learn. They can transition from the high energy of recess to the quiet of reading, recover from small disappointments, and socialize effectively by managing their natural impulses. Here is why we consider it the foundation for everything else. The first one, it is the foundation of learning. A child's brain cannot absorb the alphabet or counting if it is stuck in fight or flight mode. Self regulation creates the calm needed for focus, transitions, and following and retaining directions. The second one, it predicts social success. Kindergarten is a social marathon, and self regulation is what allows a child to be a good friend. It powers impulse control, helping them to stop the urge to grab a toy, and conflict resolution, giving them that breath that they need to use words instead of pushing when frustrated. It even fuels empathy because a child has to be calm themselves before they can notice that a classmate is sad. And the third one listed, it builds school stamina. Let's be honest, school can be exhausting for a 5-year-old. Self regulation helps them manage their energy all day long. It builds persistence, the drive to try zipping up a coat 3 times before giving up, and emotional recovery, which is the ability to bounce back quickly after a mistake or losing a game. Moving into independence and self help, please ensure that your child is working towards building independence and self help skills, such as opening their own lunch, tying their shoes, or taking care of their book bag and coat. A true secret sauce of kindergarten readiness is actually independence. A child's ability to manage themselves is what unlocks their ability to learn. And here's why. It maximizes their learning. In a room full of 20 plus students, a 15-minute transition can take 30 minutes if everybody needs help with the zipper. When a child can self start, they spend more time learning and less time waiting in line for an adult. It also builds confidence. Physical independence leads to academic risk taking. A child who thinks, I can handle my own lunch, is much more likely to think, I can try to write this tricky word. It proves that they don't need a rescue in order to succeed. And then it also reduces anxiety. The school day is a series of fast movements. A child who can manage their own gear moves with calm and control rather than feeling rushed or left behind during transitions. Please remember, you are not just teaching them to zip a coat, you are teaching them that they are capable, confident, and ready for anything. Another area that deserves attention and reflection for parents is bathroom independence. Moving from the total privacy of home to a school bathroom can be a major hurdle for a new kindergartner. In a school setting, being potty trained means more than just avoiding accidents. It means complete independence. To ensure that your child is practice ready by the first day, we've identified 5 key areas to focus on this spring and summer. The first one is mastering the wardrobe. Our goal is for every child to feel like a boss of their own body. In a busy kindergarten classroom, transitions, happen very quickly. And with 20 or more students moving at once, there often isn't an adult immediately available to help with a tricky button, a difficult belt, or perhaps that stuck zipper. And while our educators strive to meet every child's individual needs, they are often balancing the needs of an entire group. A stuck fastener can quickly lead to a child feeling frustrated or rushed. By mastering these skills at home now, you are giving your child the gift of independence. You're ensuring that they never have to wait for help to feel comfortable. which is a huge win for their confidence on day one. The second section is overcoming the public bathroom. Kindergarten involves using both the bathroom and a hallway restroom. Some children find the shift to stalls and classroom bathrooms a bit overwhelming, which can lead them to trying to hold it throughout the school day. Working with your child now to understand what to expect and practicing those independent bathroom techniques in a variety of settings will significantly help their comfort level when school begins. Some of these expectations include not playing in the restroom, respecting people's privacy, understanding how to properly use the toilets, the sinks, paper towel rolls, and the doors. These next two areas are also a part of the bathroom expectations. The clean wipe check. Complete independence in the bathroom is a top priority for kindergarten. This includes the clean wipe check, a skill that we recommend that every parent verify before the first day. Have your child practice at home until they can successfully show you a sequence of clean wipes without any assistance. Mastering this now ensures that they will feel clean, comfortable, and confident all day long. And then, of course, we have the proper hand washing habits. In a fast paced classroom, quick hand washing can easily turn into a 2-second splash with no soap. So, in order to help keep everybody healthy, we want to turn that hand washing into a real habit. Practice turning on water on and off independently and utilizing soap and towels appropriately. And then finally, we have communication. Kindergarten bathroom use is a balance between following a classroom routine and developing personal advocacy. And while your child will learn the rhythm of a day, like scheduled bathroom break before lunch, their bodies don't always follow a clock, especially at the beginning of the year. And we want to empower them to find their voice when they have an urgent need. You can help them practice with them asking to use the bathroom at home. So the bottom line is if your child isn't fully independent in the bathroom, start building that bathroom routine today and gradually phase out your support. Whether it's wiping or zipping, the more that they master at home, the more confident and successful that they will feel on day one. I know that was a lot of information, and if you would like to have a quick reference sheet of the skills and the activities that were presented and I went over today, please feel free to scan the QR code on the screen. And as we give you a moment to scan that QR code, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to the kindergarten readiness portion of this webinar. My last words that I want to leave you with is to remember that these skills not only help your child with kindergarten readiness, but it also connects to building a lifelong educational journey of success. And I'm going to go ahead and pass the presentation to Shaughnessy.
Thank you, Lauren, for that introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Shaughnessy Butler, and I am the coordinator for the Chesapeake Thrives program. Today, I will share a few resources that may be helpful when looking for childcare during the school year. So the first one that I would like to cover is Child Care VA. Child Care VA is a place where you can find high-quality child care programs. You can search by providers where you can learn more about questions you should ask your providers, check for licensing information, and more. And you can also find care and type in specific qualities that you are looking for in a child care provider. If you are looking for financial assistance to help support child care costs, you can visit the Common Help website. For families who may be eligible to receive assistance, this will help so that you can work or attend educational programs while your child is in child care. In addition, on the Common Health website, you can also apply for subsidy money, health benefits, SNAP benefits, and more. Another website that you can use is Child Care Aware VA. This website provides childcare resources and provider information. You can also find more information on various safety tips, provider resources, and availability of quality child care providers. Last but not least is the Chesapeake Resource Guides. This is the Chesapeake's one-stop shop for a variety of resources, not only in the city of Chesapeake, but throughout the Hampton Roads area. As you flip through the guide, if you are looking for resources in behavioral health support, food resources, educational classes, Medicaid support, etc., you can find them in this resource guide. The last topic that I would like to cover is our program, Chesapeake Thrives. Chesapeake Thrives is a public/private partnership that seeks to connect residents to services at any stage of their life, addressing our 9 different priority areas, such as aging in the community, behavioral health, early childhood, health, housing, poverty and economic support, safety and security, school age programs and support, and workforce development. If you're ever in need of some sort of assistance for resources, whether it may be that you're looking for food resources, you need help with the child care resources, anything that you can think of that can help you within your walk of life, you can call us at 757-382-2489. Talk to one person, and we'll be able to assist you with your needs. Thank you. That is the end of my presentation, and I will turn it back over to Lisa.
Thank you, Shaughnessy and Lauren, for your wealth of information. Families, if you should have any questions or need additional resources, please feel free to contact FACE, F-A-C-E, at cpschools.com. Keep in mind that Let's Talk is a perfect two-way communication for any comments, questions, suggestions, or concerns that you may have. Also, you can stay connected to the Chesapeake Public Schools website through the screen and the different platforms listed on the screen. Make sure you scan the QR code to download our app and to receive notifications about important events. Again, I would like to thank both of our panelists for sharing their information with us. Please remember that this has been recorded and will be put on our Chesapeake Public Schools YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us again, and remember, families and communities work better together. Thank you. Have a great day.